Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Beautiful day, amazingly clear sky. I mean, it's like clear. There's nothing in the sky but just blue. Beautiful, and in my opinion, a little slightly warming up, which it's supposed to. Like I said, I think this next week gonna be a little bit warmer, but nothing at all to complain about today with the weather. So I want to kind of piggyback off of this morning's video. If you didn't watch it, it was a little bit longer than my typical video, but if you didn't watch it, might be a good one to go again and watch. And this one's kind of a part 2 of it. And I was talking about the increase of violence in America and how we need to be preparing ourselves. And it was sad, but just after I made that video, it came out that there was another active shooter situation in the country. And there's a lot of stuff that's happening, I think, that can be causing this. I mean, I think Matthew 24:12 is the root cause of all this. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. There's your homework assignment. But you look at just the political discord, the, financial situation with people, drugs, mental illness, just chaos. You've got terrorism, you've got, terrorist groups probably funding things, you've got, far left funding things. There's all kinds of things that's going on that's causing this. But the fact is that we are in a place where it's becoming more dangerous on American streets. And I think possibly, I could be wrong, but I think this is going to increase. I think it's just begun, okay? The Charlie Kirk assassination, a lot of people believe, and I lean that direction too, that may have been kind of the kickoff. And history will tell us whether I'm correct or wrong, but we need to be taking things seriously. So I've done some digging this morning, did some research, and as best as I can tell, and I'm not going to sit here and promise you my numbers are exactly correct, but I think they're fairly accurate. In the last 30 days, there have been 9 large mass casualty shootings or active shooter scenarios, larger ones where there's been multiple casualties. There's been an additional 15 smaller mass casualty incidents, meaning that there were less than 5 casualties in each one of those. So 9 big ones where there were more than 5, and 15 where they were under 5 casualties. Altogether, that's 150 casualties with all of those incidences. About half, or actually just a little more than half of all of those happened in smaller towns and communities. They weren't, I'm not talking about stuff that's, every other day in Chicago and stuff. I'm talking about actual, mass casualty incidents that would be in the news, that would be kind of shocking. So over half of them were in smaller communities. Now, looking at the data, because I think numbers just kind of help us, and I'm a numbers kind of guy anyways, but looking at the data, back in 2020, and I think a lot of it had to do with the Antifa and the elections and the George Floyd, all that stuff, that we had a pretty high year for mass casualty shootings, active shooters, events. Since then, it's been steadily declining each year. But in the last 30 days, there has been a sharp uptick in these events, okay? I mean, the data is there. Look it up. There's been a sharp uptick in the last 30 days, an increase in numbers above what we've seen over the last 12 to 18 months. Again, I'm not going to get on here and tell you all the definite reasons why this is happening. I think most of us can have a pretty good idea, but like I said in the beginning of this video, I think Matthew 24:12 is the root cause. Because of that, that's why I think we're going to continue to see this, and we're going to see more of it. And so we need to be prepared, folks. We're not talking about preparing for the possible albeit maybe inevitable, but possible SHTF of, the dollar collapsing or hyperinflation or, nuclear war or World War III or, civil war or, the grid going down. While some of those things are more likely to happen than others, they are still not happening and not guaranteed. This is happening. This is guaranteed. People are finding themselves across America in the midst of a dangerous situation. Now, the numbers that I gave you, I want to clarify, the numbers that I gave you are only active shooter situations. These aren't possible, explosions, bombs, natural occurrences where it's maybe bad weather. It's not including, if just a natural gas pipe just blows up spontaneously because of, corrosion or whatever, and you've got 10 or 15 casualties. It doesn't include those. These are only including active shooter mass casualty events. So when you put all of that, because I didn't dig that deep, that would include a whole lot more. If you put it all together, the odds of you finding yourself in some type of, very heated situation are becoming better and better. And that's something that we need to take note of. This is why I tell you to move out of the big cities, although the data that I showed you or mentioned shows that it's happening in smaller towns too. You need to be avoiding areas where there's just lots of people. The more people there are, the odds are it's going to happen more likely, okay? Because it's just because of the way it is. You need to be cautious. If you are involved in a church and your church is not paying any attention to this, you need to be having conversations with the church leadership that they should probably be paying attention to this. Definitely. Because a lot of the things that's going on, I believe Christianity, churches, all that's going to be attacked. If you are a Torah observant believer and you know who you are, you should also, I think that includes you, you should also be, very aware of what's going on and on alert. This may be just a phase that we're going through. It's possible. But it's also possible that we are living out and going through those end time process where, like, Yeshua and Isaiah and everyone else talked about, that it's just going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets worse, right? Does that make any sense? And so we're going through those kind of birthing pains, that, days of Noah time period, where, there's wars, increasing wars, there's economic hardship, there's just more of that stuff that's happening, and we have to be aware of that, and we have to be taking all the possible precautions that we can, and I've laid many of those out before. There are other great sources out there when it comes to defense that are better than mine. These are guys that's what they do is for a living, and I haven't done it for a living in a long time. I do different things now. So there's a lot of good sources out there, and you need to be actively preparing and getting, not just preparing. This is where you need to be in a state of readiness, and that is a different thing. You need to be ready to act and react very quickly when these things happen. All the other stuff that's going on, it's bad. The trade wars, the real wars, I could just go on and on of all the other stuff. But this is bad, and this is absolutely happening right now on a very regular basis, where regular, average people, just like yourself, are finding themselves either a direct victim of this violence or finding themselves in the midst of it. And so now they're in this chaotic scenario where, that because of their just human compassion, they want to help, but they don't really know what to do. And so that's why you need to prepare yourselves with, the training and the equipment. It's sad that we're in this place right now in our country, but I think all of us knew we were going to get here. And we cannot deny. You know, if in 30 to 60 to 90 days things just calm down and go back to normal, and we're like, okay, well, you know, it was just a fluke, right? It was just a thing that happened, and now it's gone away. Then what's it hurt? What is it going to hurt that you have, you know, spent some time and maybe a little bit of money of training and becoming a little bit more prepared? If I'm right, though, if I'm right, and you've done nothing, then you have created a massive vulnerability. You can have all the cool preps you want, all the pallets of food and cases of ammo and everything that you want, but if you are not prepared right now in this moment for something like this bad to happen, then you're not prepared at all. And you should probably be thinking about that, of your daily routine. Does it need to be changed? How can you make it more secure? How can you be more prepared and ready to react when these things happen, whether it be in a defensive mode, an offensive mode, or recovery mode for afterwards? You just need to be doing it, because it is happening. It is happening quite regular, and it's happening all over in places that you just wouldn't expect it to happen, which is another sign and signal, and that it's becoming a normal thing. And I'm telling you, you need to be getting yourselves prepared. I will do my best to put together a more detailed, you know, stuff like that probably wouldn't go good on a video, but maybe it's something that I can send to people, put together a PDF of equipment and sites and videos. But for right now, you know, if you want to reach out to me, I can't promise you I'll get back with everyone, because I do get a ton of emails, so I'm not always able to respond personally to everything. But I will do my best. And then, you know, there are trainings out there. Bear Independent puts out some great training. We are doing, it's similar. I've not gone through his training, but I know from other people the type of training. So ours is similar. A few variations, which is not a big deal, because, you know, you could find 10 different places that do this kind of training. It's all going to be done 10 different ways. And then there's others. There's, like I said, there's online, which isn't as good, but if that's all you can get, that's all you can get. And then just be putting a lot of focus in this, folks, because with everything that's happening in our country today, I think we're in this for a while. All right, you need to be getting your houses in order and preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.